Dear students, good evening. The topic of today's practical, actually it is a practical knowledge that one should have sources of drug information. That is very important. You know, whenever there is a controversy about the drug, you should know the reference where you have seen it or you have to see it. Because reference to the context is very important so far as the drug information is concerned. And source of drug information is the base of pharmacology, because if you are well informed about the drug and the reference and how you treat a patient and what are the indications, contraindications, pharmacological structure, if you know, it is amine, it is amide. So these all things are very important in order to evaluate and in order to see the information. And this drug information in the form of drug information center in some medical colleges are very important. Moreover, also the poisoning center in some institutes are well developed, and if a person comes as a poisoned case, we have to evaluate those patients and we have to take the sample and we have to assess what drug he has taken and why he has taken. It was due to the suicidal ideation or why he has used this drug, and about the information not in the poisoning but routinely also it is very important to know about the drugs, and in any case, in any form, we should know. That's why we study the pharmacology. Now, this is very important to understand that objectives of drug information is very important. To know what are the various sources of drug information. This is the first and the foremost thing. To select the appropriate source depending on the information. To discuss briefly the role of electronic media in medicine. Because nowadays, you know, the COVID-19 has shown us the way. Webinar is there, online teaching is there. Same is the case, we just see the information of the drug on the internet, on different sources, and that we should know, because this is a new concept that this internet is very important tool nowadays. Now, we have pharmacopoeias. That is very important. These pharmacopoeias, it is an official code containing a selected list of the established drugs and medicinal preparations with description of their physical properties and tests for their identity, purity and potency. Pharmacopoeias give us alarming information about this. Physical properties, their tests, and their identity, their purity, their stability, and their potency. You should know about what pharmacopoeias teach us. The different pharmacopoeias are, we have Indian pharmacopoeia, that's called the IP. That is written there, IP, Indian pharmacopoeia. BP, British pharmacopoeia. EP, European pharmacopoeia. USP, that is United States pharmacopoeia. And international pharmacopoeia, IP. These are the different pharmacopoeias that gives us the, about the drug information. We just enumerate the drug information from these pharmacopoeias. Now, drug formulary is also one of the sources of information we get about the drugs. This includes notes on the drugs and preparations used in the treatment of diseases and conditions, and provide information to doctors, pharmacists, nurses to facilitate the selection of the suitable treatment. This is a pocket book meant for rapid reference, that is National Formulary of India, NFI, National Formulary of India. You have to consult this drug formulary and it gives all physical properties, boiling point, melting point, what for it is used, what is its antidote, so these, what is its structure. So this formulary is also another source. Now we have Materia Medica. It is a reference book containing the origin, constituents, actions, indications and preparations of drugs. It also gives the doses and their mode of administration, that is Indian Materia Medica by Dr. K.M. Nadkarni, and revised and enlarged by Dr. A.K. Nadkarni. So this Materia Medica also gives this information. What is the source? It is animal source. It is what is it? Is genetic engineering, like we have insulin. So genetic engineering drugs are available here. So is it plant source? Is it animal source? Is it bacterial source? What source? So Interia Medica is another this thing which is the source of information about this drug information. Now then we have textbooks. That's important. The textbooks give standard information about drugs and their rational application in therapeutics. Students can gather basic knowledge from textbooks. Some pharmacology textbooks are Essential of Medical Pharmacology, 8th edition. I am just enumerating K.D. Tripathi. It is also the source from which we get the information of the drugs. Pharmacology and Pharmacotherapeutics revised, it is 21st edition of R.S. Satuskar, S.D. Bandarkar and Nirmala N. Rigi. Now we have Basic and Clinical Pharmacology, 11th edition of the Bitram G. Kardzung. Clinical Pharmacology, 9th edition, Bennett and M.J. Brown. So Pharmacology, 6th edition by Range and Dale. We have journals also. It is not only this. Journals, these give details about the clinical trials involving new medical molecules and new molecules and recent developments in pharmacology. So these are the, girth of information we get from, textbooks we get from reference. We have Goodman-Gilman, recent edition. We have, journals from which there is the evidence-based medicine. Clinical trials, evidence-based medicine is from which source you have got it. And when you go for higher classes, and you have to have this knowledge, and we have to enumerate the references. These are very important. At the same time, we have bulletins. This is an independent journal having articles from various well-known authors. So we have journals, we have these details about the clinical trials involving new molecules and recent developments in the pharmacology. Because it is not only the molecule which comes into being in the 4th phase of the clinical trial, it is already developed. And you should know the molecules from, some molecules are being after 4th, clinical trial 4, it is being obsolete from the market. There are some molecules, like we have the thalidomide, we have some, molecules, fexofenadine, those have been taken off from the, market. So clinical trials tells us phase 0 is there, phase 1 is there, phase 2 is there, phase 3, phase 4, and preclinical. So these things you are supposed to know these things in the, what are the different sources and what are the different, bulletins, from bulletins also. Then we have monographs. Drug monograph is also there that gives us the, about the drug information. This is the discourse on a single topic. It gives details about the single topic or about a drug, particular drug. So monographs we have. These monographs tell us about the, what is it, how it is given, what are the key points, what is the side effects, what is this adverse drug reaction. So these monographs also gives us something about the new information about the drugs. Now patient package insert. You have seen that there is a package, this package insert in each and every drug. If you get the package, it gives the directions how you have to use it. If there are, biological molecules, there are, antibodies, monoclonal antibodies, how it is to be used, what are the reactions taking place, and it is an alert for the patient perspective. Label should comply with the requirements established under good manufacturing practice. There are 3 practices: GMP, GLP, and GCP. GMP means good manufacturing practice. So how we have manufactured this drug, it should be known. And also with the official national labeling instructions. What are the national labeling instructions? GLP means good laboratory. When we do the test in the laboratory, we should know about this GLP. When we do the practice, we should know about the GCP, good clinical practice. So patient package insert gives us insight about the good manufacturing practice, because it is not that a company will manufacture the drug, that's all. That company has to ensure that it has been manufactured in a nice way and how it can be used when you practice of medicine. So there are, write down the relevant specific information, definition and its significance gathered from the patient package insert provided. Like we have augmentin twice daily, it has got 457 milligrams per 500 ml, 455 ml, so 35 ml syrup in powder form is there. So how you have to dilute it, and there is a Benadryl, it is for allergy. What is its generic name? It is diphenhydramine, and these things you should know. And generic name, what is the generic name? Generic name, it means it is officially accepted name. It is important as it is followed world over, accepted by scientific body. Generic name is accepted by scientific body, and trade name given by manufacturer or company that produce the drug. So we should know about the drug. It is generic name as well as it is trade name as well as chemical name. So these are the different names which you are supposed to know. Our main theme is how you dilute it, how you use it, and where you keep it. There are some drugs which you have to keep away from the sunlight because the phototoxicity takes place, hydrolysis takes place. Like there are some drugs which are being, deactivated in the sunlight. There is oxidation which is produced in the sunlight. So this is the cytotech. What are the different, drugs like this is the esclofenac and tablet, and there are different Volini, and there is a, you use it for the cream, and there are different companies. Ranbaxy is there, gel, Trista, 30 seconds Tamil. So when it has been manufactured, what is its manufacturing date, how it will be, its potency is lost after the manufacturing date, that is expiry date, Viagra. So different, trade names and different generic names, and you are supposed to know this information is very important. Then there is a composition. Suppose represents chemical ingredients. What are the different ingredients? Helps us to know the active principle and the toxic component. There are some vehicles in which the drug is dissolved that gives us impetus that which drug dissolves by which solvent. That is very important. Suppose take the case of this Granisip. Each ml contains Granicetron. It is the antiemetic equivalent to Granicetron 1 milligram. Water for injection is quantity is sufficient. Dosage is this, and store in a cool, dry place. Protect from the light. Do not freeze. So these are the different things which you have to take into consideration. This drug information is very important. So indications. The conditions which demands the usage of the drug, used only for these conditions, help to control hazardous use. Like take the case of the atropine. Atropine indications and dose of the drug is, it is sinus bradycardia, 0.5 milligram, 0.5 to 1 milligram, or 5 to 10 ml of 0.1 milligram per ml. So repeated every 3 to 5 minutes when necessary in adults. So this is the atropine when it is used for, for sinus bradycardia. If it is bronchospasm, it is 0.025 milligram per kg in 2.5 ml normal saline by nebulizer every 6 to 8 hours. Then we have another indication, organophosphate poisoning. In that time we have to use it to 2 milligram IV and IM every 3 minutes according to the clinical response to the adult. So that the cardiac arrest is the 1 milligram every 3 to 5, 5 minutes. So this atropine is used, for bradycardia, for bronchospasm, for organophosphate poisoning, and for the cardiac arrest. So these things, a drug which has got different indications, and different indications need different dosages, and different dosages we have to take the different, precautions. So these things are very important once you use these drugs in emergency or in the OPD or in the ICU. These settings are very important to note down. So dosage form, we have a dosage form here, average dose and the mode of the administration. You know, there are different doses. There is a lethal dose, there is a usual dose, there is a, I would say, target dose, there is a, I would say, that once we give the dose, it produces the concentration in the body, I have told you, and it is not then dose, it becomes the concentration. There are drugs which have got the narrow therapeutic index, there are drugs which have got the, I would say, wide therapeutic index. So it helps us to know the route of administration, the extent of administration. So what is it is bioavailability? What is its ideal route? That is very important. Which route we have to use? This drug information is very important. So you should be taught and you should learn the administration as well as the extent of administration. So what is this bioavailability? That is very important. Also, the quantity, single unit and total number per quantity in the pack provided. So what are the different packs? That pack, sometimes it is 10 milligram or 5 milligram, so it varies from pediatrics to adults. So this quantity per single unit, number per pack and quantity per pack, it is very important. You have to write on the prescription also, and this is the source of information that you are supposed to know. Then we have price. Price is very important. Once you administer the drug, and you have to see the socio-economics. Socio-economics, in which area it is. If they are affluent people, you can give them good drug that is costly. If they are not, people is not, I mean, say people are very poor, and you should know about the price, MRP. What is the maximum rate price? Not to exceed price is meant to patient compliance. So that is very important. Accordingly, this is patient compliance, because if the patient is poor, he cannot get he cannot get the drug. So price is very important. After all, we have to give the community. And then contraindications. I told you initially also what is the indication and what is the contraindication. Conditions where the drug should not be used. It is a contraindication. During pregnancy, we have to prescribe some drugs, we have not to prescribe some drugs. So that is very important. Help us to prevent drug toxicity, like do not use in eyes or do not use in these persons hypersensitive to iodine or other ingredients of the preparation. So we should know about the ingredient of the drug. That is very important. And according to the size, because the weight of the body, particularly the weight in the younger generation, is where we give the milligram per kg. In adult dose, there is a fixed dose. The 500 milligram, 600 milligram, 1 gram to 2 grams. But in case of, I would say we have to, I would say, weigh the neonates or the pediatric patients, and we give milligram per kg. So once it increases, that's why there is a, I would say, dosage failure once we don't incorporate with the pediatrics. Pediatrics is very important. So how grapefruit juice affects some medicines? As you know, that tetracycline and milk should not be given, because the tetracycline and milk, there is a chelation. The drug potency is hampered. The drug does not reach to the systemic compartment. Once we give the drug orally and the milk and the tetracycline, there is a chelation, or with calcium also there is a chelation. So that's called as the drug and food interaction. That's very important. That will be taken another class, but here you should know the information. So far as information of this contraindication is concerned, and where we have to give, where we have not to give, and what are the constituents we have to give, and what are the constituents we have not to give. So this is very important, contraindication. Now side effects. Side effects and adverse drug reactions are two different terms. Side effects, if you give the, I would say, hyoscyamine or scopolamine, and scopolamine, if it is taken, there will be dryness. It is due to the side effect. This does not bother a patient. But once the side effect crosses, I would say, then there is an adverse drug reaction. It is not related to the drug. It is a genetic. It is a idiosyncrasy. So here, side effects help us to be aware of complications. So you tell the patient, no, once you will give the atropine, there will be the dryness of mouth. And help us to be aware of the complications, and to mask the complications, stop use of rash or other allergic reactions develops. So side effects or drug side effects, you should know what are the side effects. So this is very important so far as the public is concerned, so far as the patient is concerned. If you take the higher dose, there will be the death. If you take this dose, it will produce the addiction. If you take the lot of dose of this drug, it will produce the vomiting. If it give this dose, there will be diarrhea. So this is may cause. So you have to inform the patient, as well as you are most likely to be informed, and the doctor mostly should be informed. He should know. He should have a information about this. And moreover, interaction, I have told you there are different interactions that will come in the interaction. Like we have ADME, absorption interaction. Like we have D, means distribution interaction. M, metabolism interaction. E, excretion interaction. So once you give the two drugs, or I would say at absorption level, if you give the, I would say, drug, suppose digoxin, if you give with the cholestyramine, which is the antilipid, it will, I would say, interact with the digoxin, because it is, I would say, it is a cholestyramine, and cholestyramine, there will be less drug available in the systemic compartment. Same is the case with distribution. Protein binding, I told you that protein binding, if two drugs having the protein binding and one competes with the other, so that is a drug interaction. So then metabolism inducer, one drug is induced the metabolism of another drug, that you are supposed to know. That's why this curve you see, this is the ideal curve, and if you give the drug that inhibits the metabolism, this is the curve which the drug is formed. So there will be interaction, there will be a side effect. There will be, I would say, the drug is withdrawn because there are a lot of side effects. So it enhances the area under curve. So it is the usual, you give the two drugs, it will be the area under curve. So there is a vomiting, there is a diarrhea, there is a dizziness, there is a heartburn, there is a change in taste, there is a stomach pain, there is a diarrhea, there is a headache, there is a nausea. So this is what you are supposed to know. So drug interaction is very important at the point of time once you prescribe the drug, and you should also know it, then only you can, I mean, say, prescribe two drugs at a time. Now then there's a warning for maintaining potency of drugs or be sold on retail only on prescription of the medical practitioner, carcinogenic in mice, and hence unnecessary use should be avoided. So this is also warning. There are, I mean, say, warnings. That warning is very important for maintaining potency of drugs to be sold on retail. That's why you cannot, in the West, you have to have a prescription. Then only you can get the drug. They will never give you the drug. Or in big cities also. In a village, chalta hai, so you get the drug on ordinary prescription. So you have to be warned under some circumstances, and it is written there, carcinogenic in mice, and hence unnecessary use should be avoided, like metronidazole. So it is written there, it is carcinogenic. It is to be noted down on the insert, which is there with the, I would say, drug, drug insert, that is written there. Now storage also, stability is very important. That's why this drug shop is there. Stability of the drug is very important. Storage and special instructions on handling in order to maintain the viability or potency of drug. Store in cool places, shake well before use, protect from sunlight. So this I have already told you, storage is very important, special instructions are very important, handling is very important, and in order to maintain the viability, how viable is the drug, and potency of the drug store is in core place. That's why mostly the drug stores in medical colleges, in district hospitals should be in the ground floor. Why? Because sunlight is not there, and it should be in the basin. And the drug store should never be in the second floor or third floor. It should be ground floor, because stability of the drug is very important. You cannot compromise with the stability. Then we have shelf life, date of expiry. The shelf life, you should know what is the shelf life of the drug. When its stability is, I would say, potency is lost. That's why manufacturing date and expiry date is very important. Particularly if the tetracycline has that there is a, I would say, disease caused by the expiry date drug. So this is the time for which the drug's potency lasts for or helps to prevent harmful effects. Date of manufacture and expiry gives the shelf life of the medication. This is called the shelf life. So this is very important. You have to go once you know as doctors and as say pharmacists. These are very important. Say queries which you have to know. And the batch number also assigned by the manufacturer. This is very important so far as the pharmacovigilance is concerned, so far as the adverse drug reaction monitoring is concerned. Sometimes you have to, not sometimes, all times you have to know about that to identify the lot of drug preparation, help us to localize the preparation which has been found to have harmful effects. Like I'm telling you one thing, there is a batch to batch variation. There is a digoxin. Sometimes when you change one batch with another batch, so there is a toxicity. It has got a narrow therapeutic index. The drug concentration increases when you get another batch. Same is the case with the phenytoin. So salt also matters. Which salt? That is very important. You have to give the same salt and then you get the same concentration, and then this is very important. So the batch number is very important. It identifies if there is something wrong, some poisoning is taken. At that time the forensic department, they write the batch number, or if there is a adverse drug reaction, at that time also batch number is very important. Now name of the manufacturer, name on which company it is. It is the Pfizer, it is the Abbott, it is the Well, it is the Roche, it is the Lilly, it is the Lord, it is Johnson Johnson. So this is very important. Name of the manufacturer. To contact in need of any information regarding the medication. Sometimes that batch is identified, and then you can consult that company, and for forensic purposes or for toxicity purposes or for this purposes, you have to correspond. You have to have a correspondence with them so that you will know what has happened. And sometimes inert substances there, you have to send the drug for for quality control to see if it contains 500 milligrams of the paracetamol or not. That's also very important. So name of the manufacturer is very important. Then additional information.